Okay, we're going to talk about cultural development of food habits, and this is part two in my YouTube video series of Chapter 14. Cultural development of food habits encompasses both conscious means we're aware of it and we're trying to do it, and unconscious learning that we don't think about. Culture develops from everyday living. Traditional culture specific food patterns are becoming more diverse as America is becoming more diverse. Older people tend to eat traditional foods regularly. Younger people use traditional foods for special occasions. We have Spanish and Native American influences. Mexicans live in the Southwest and they eat dried beans, tomatoes, corn, and squash. Lactose intolerance is prevalent among Mexicans, and that's why they eat cheese. They also eat corn tortillas. The seasonings are garlic, chili peppers, and onions, and their fat is lard. Puerto Ricans have rice, beans, and tropical fruits. They eat limited amounts of milk, meat, and yellow-green vegetables. Native Americans and American Indians eat corn, also called maize, beans, and rice. Acculturation Acculturation is the process of an individual or group of people adopting to the lifestyle habits of a new culture. Latinos who acculturated to the United States consumed more sugar-sweetened beverages than they did in their traditional diet. The risk for diabetes increases as diets include less traditional foods, less fiber, and more saturated fat. The risk for diabetes increases as diets include less traditional foods, less fiber, and more saturated fat. Black or African Americans are often lactose intolerant. They don't drink a lot of milk. That's why you see cheese in some of their foods. And that's why you don't see milk used a lot in traditional African American foods. Spoon bread is a souffle-like dish of cornmeal with beaten eggs. Hoppin' John is a mixture of black-eyed peas over rice. African Americans also consume pork, corn, and green leafy vegetables and collard greens, and also fried foods. French Americans, the Cajuns, their French Catholic ancestors established permanent communities in southern Louisiana after being expelled from Canada. There was a war between France and Britain for control of Canada. France won, so the Cajuns were deported. The Cajuns developed a unique food pattern from a blend of their native French influence and Creole cooking. Cajun foods are spicy, and seafood is often the base because in Louisiana, the people live near the ocean, and so they can get fish. And this is one example of how the environment shapes people's food choices. So the Cajuns eat a lot of seafood. Seafood is a base. It's often cooked as a stew and served over rice. The seasonings are cayenne pepper, crushed black pepper, white pepper, bay leaves, thyme, and filet powder. Filet powder is made from ground sassafras leaves. It seasons and thickens the dish into which it is added. The crawfish boil, also known as the Low Country boil, is a traditional Louisiana Cajun festive meal. It typically includes crawfish, crab, and shrimp, small ears of corn and new potatoes, onions and garlic, occasional smoked sausage links. Seasonings are cayenne pepper, hot sauce, salt, lemons, and bay leaf. All ingredients are added to a large pot and boiled. The contents are then spread out on newspaper covered tables, and everyone eats. They have the newspapers like their tablecloth, and everyone eats directly from the table. Let's talk about Asian food patterns. The Chinese have a large variety of fruits and vegetables, and they cook with a wok. The Japanese eat rice. They season their food with soy sauce. They drink tea as their main beverage, and they eat seafood, often in the form of sushi. Sushi is raw fish. They eat seafood products like tofu and bean curd. The Japanese eat a lot of soy products like tofu and bean curd. Bean curd is soybean curd. Because of the amount of soy sauce that the Japanese use, the Japanese diet is high in sodium. Many Japanese are lactose intolerant, and so their diet is low in milk products. Moving on to Southeast Asia. The Southeast Asians come from Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. Southeast Asians consume rice, soups, fresh fruits, and vegetables. They eat fish and shellfish, chicken, duck, and pork. Nuts and legumes are the main protein. Red meat is eaten in small quantities, and they stir fry in a wok with lard or peanut oil. Third or fourth generation immigrants and refugees have acculturated to American food choices. They consume more eggs, more beef, more pork, more dairy products, more candy and sweets, more pop and coffee, more butter and margarine. The Mediterranean diet is recommended to treat and also to prevent heart disease. The Mediterranean diet features many fruits, vegetables, legumes, that's beans and peas, nuts, whole grains, and fatty fish. Now, fatty fish is not like Long John Silver's. When you think of fatty fish, I want you to think of salmon, tuna, and mackerel. So the fatty fish are salmon, tuna, and mackerel, and olive oil. The Mediterranean diet is low in added sugar and saturated fat from meat and dairy products and features a moderate intake of red wine. Italians consume bread, pasta, and cheese. They have coffee mixed with milk. That's what we call cafe latte. They eat vegetables in main dishes, soups, and sauces like tomato sauce. They eat salads, and they have fresh fruit as a dessert or snack. The Greeks also eat a lot of bread and many vegetables. They grow a lot of vegetables. They eat olive oil and feta cheese. They don't eat a lot of sweets. Fruit is an everyday dessert. And baklava Baklava is like a pastry. It's made of dough. It's a very thin pastry dough, also honey and nuts, and baklava is only for special occasions. Thank you. Bye.